This is No Tears for Black Girls. I'm Samantha Paul. Before we get into today's episode, I want to do something a little different. Every case we cover on this show starts the same way, with a name, with a family, with a pattern that should have been interrupted and wasn't. And every time I sit down to research another story, I think about how we tell these stories. Not just what happened, but how you make someone real to a person who never met them. How you make a listener stop what they're doing and feel the weight of a life that the world decided didn't matter enough to protect. I've been working alongside J.C. Reedberg for a while now, and together we have been building something that lives inside the same universe as this podcast. J.C. is the author of Death Apnea, part of the No Tears for Black Girls Case Files series, and there is a chapter in that book that I haven't been able to stop thinking about since the first time I read it. Not because it is about a murder, not because it is about a system failure, but because it is about a New Year's Eve in a parking lot in New Orleans. About a woman getting dressed in the front seat of her car with the precision of someone who has learned to keep her dignity in conditions that were never designed to allow for it. About a dog who loves her. About a letter she writes that she hopes nobody ever has to read. About a woman who refuses to let the people she loves see her falling apart. Her name is Nettie Moreau. She is a fictional character. But I want you to understand something before we go any further. Nettie is fictional in the way that all the best fiction is fictional, which means she is built from 1,000 real women. Women who lost their businesses to gentrification and never recovered. Women who ration their medication because the math doesn't work and it never works. Women who sleep in their cars and lie to their daughters about it because they would rather carry the weight alone than watch someone they love try to lift it. Women whose hearts are giving out while the world keeps moving and nobody stops to ask if they are okay. The medical crisis at the center of this book is real. The pattern of Black bodies being processed through hospital systems without proper family notification is real. The history of Black women disappearing into systems that were never built to find them is real. Nettie's story is fiction. The world that made her possible is not. So today, instead of a case file, I am reading you a chapter. Chapter 6. The Tower Card. New Year's Eve in New Orleans. A gold Chevy Impala. A woman who already knows what is coming and spends her last hours making sure the people she loves will be okay without her. This one is going to sit with you. Chapter 6. The Tower Card. The inside of the gold Chevy Impala is cold and humid, the windows fogged up and dripping. Nettie lies twisted on the front bench seat, her knees drawn to her chest, a thick blue blanket cocooned around her and the sleeping dog pressed against her hips. Goldie's breath fogs the air in slow, dog-rhythmed bursts, fur musk cut with the cloying tang of old citrus air freshener. Outside, faint jazz slaloms in from Rampart, trailing the last of the midnight crowd toward something louder, brighter, and less permanent than the shape of her own morning. She is awake before her eyes open. In the dark, she counts her parts, ankles, knees, elbows, ribs, every one of them present, aching, accounted for. She lets her hand rest on Goldie's back, the slow rise and fall proof of another day's grace. The ancestors say every day is laniape, even the hard ones. The seatbelt buckle pokes her thigh, and she shifts, careful not to disturb the dog. Her body still remembers the space of a queen mattress, the gentle weight of Kiki curled behind her knees. But it's been months since a real bed. Her bones settle in, finding comfort in the nest of laundry and junk mail, the faded tartan scarf wrapped 3 times around her neck. She blinks, and the condensation on the windshield refracts the gas station lights in dreamy sunburst patterns. Nettie sits up slowly. A low electric hum gnaws at the edges of her chest, the same hum that's been there for months, the one she knows means her heart's skipping beats, the one the clinic said she needed to get checked. But clinics cost money, and money's been tight since Page and Poor closed. She wraps both hands around the steering wheel, waits for the world to steady. The tremor in her left hand is worse than yesterday. It snakes up her arm and sets her jaw on edge. She ignores it. Instead, she pops the glove compartment and pulls out her toothbrush, travel size, purple, bristles splayed like the tail feathers of a dying peacock. The plastic water bottle she keeps for mornings like this is half frozen from the night chill. She pours a ration onto her brush and spits into a paper coffee cup, quick and neat. Nobody teaches you how to keep dignity when you're parked on the edge of the quarter, but she's figured it out. Goldie stirs, gives her a side eye. The dog stretches and yawns, mouth a pink cave, before resting her chin on Nettie's thigh. Shh, Nettie whispers. We got a few minutes, share. She glances at the clock. 7:04 a.m. The whole city is still hungover or dreaming, except for the joggers and the sanitation crews. For a second, she considers climbing out for a walk through Louis Armstrong Park, but her mind's already fast-forwarding to the rest of the routine. She pulls the blanket tighter and reaches down into the cracked vinyl footwell for her work uniform. Black slacks, collared shirt, and the battered clogs she thrifted last spring. The slacks are wrinkled but clean, folded with the precision of a woman who once ironed for her whole family. She lays them across her knees and begins the practice shuffle of changing clothes in the driver's seat, shoulders hunched, every move calculated to stay invisible to the street. In the rear view, her face looks older than it did 2 weeks ago. The dark skin under her eyes has deepened to the color of bruised plums. The whites are shot through with red lightning. She bares her teeth and checks for lipstick residue, then smooths her hair back into a tight bun. A few locks escape, wild at the edges, copper wire glinting faintly in the morning. Nettie shakes her head and tucks them behind her ear. The blue-green tattoo on her right wrist, Scorpio for what it's worth, flares against her skin, a warning or a blessing depending on the day. Goldie whines, a wet sound, and bats at the glove box with her paw. All right, I see you. Nettie pops it open again, this time for the dog's treat. A desiccated pig's ear from a gas station on Carrollton, 2 days stale. Goldie crunches it slow, eyes rolling up in bliss. Nettie can't help but smile. The way she sees it, dogs are the only ones who got life figured. They want food, warmth, and someone to walk beside. Not even humans, not even the slickest politicians or the richest doctors have their desires so pure. She gathers the rest of her things into order. Wallet with Kiki's school photo, a reusable tote for her work lunch, a knotted Ziploc bag that holds her phone charger, deodorant, and a battered deck of tarot cards bound with a rubber band. She hesitates over the cards. Don't pull unless you want the truth, Miss Evangeline used to say, back in the days of Page and Pour and mornings that started with chicory coffee, not this burnt-at-the-edges hustle. But the truth already lives in her chest, skipping like a scratched-up jazz record. Still, she slips the cards out and shuffles 3 times. Goldie looks up, tongue lolling, as if she too is waiting on the outcome. Nettie draws a single card and flips it in her palm. The Tower. Again. She holds the card so the pale morning light bleeds through it. A stone tower struck by lightning, bodies tumbling from the parapet, a crown on fire. 3rd day running. She shakes her head, lips pressed thin. The tower don't play. Big change. Catastrophe. But necessary. Burn it down so you can build something new. She knows enough to be wary of patterns, and 3 towers in a row is not a pattern. It's a warning. The tremor in her hand gets worse. She claps her palm flat on the dashboard, grounding herself. Today's the day. Don't run from it. Don't let them take it from you either. She breathes, slow and deliberate, until the shake subsides. Goldie noses her elbow, and Nettie rubs the dog's head, letting herself feel the coarse warmth. She closes her eyes and thinks about Kiki who is somewhere across the city, asleep in her apartment near Tulane, waking to her own hungover dawn. Nettie fights the urge to text her. She'll see her tonight if all goes well. She only has to last a handful more hours. The sun catches on the steeple of St. Augustine Catholic Church, painting gold across the mist. Nettie studies the card one last time, then slips it into her breast pocket, over her heart. She sets her jaw, wipes her hands on her pants, and puts the car in gear. She is ready. The stretch between St. Philip and Esplanade is a slow crawl, sun climbing higher but barely cutting the haze. She finds a spot under the twisted oaks on Governor Nichols and kills the engine. For a minute, she just sits, tracing the cracks in the dashboard, the gold Chevy Impala's hood gleaming under a crust of dust. Goldie circles 3 times and collapses in the passenger footwell, snoring within seconds. Nettie lays her forehead against the steering wheel. Sleep was fitful last night, even by her standards. The old dreams came back, stronger than before. Etta's voice, clearer than it's been in years, calling her across an endless flood, her hands clutching cards slick with river water, Congo Square drumming that shook the world but left her untouched on the other side. "You ain't running from nothing, Nanette," the voice had said, low and rough as the sound of beans stirring in a pot. "Time to go home, Cher. Don't make me come fetch you myself." She opens her eyes and the dream dissolves, but the afterimage lingers. Always does. Tonight's the night, then. The knowledge doesn't scare her, not exactly. It's like standing at the edge of a wide, slow river. Inevitable, yes, but almost peaceful. She wonders if her own mother felt like this, knowing the end was a question of when, not if. Or maybe that kind of wisdom skips a generation. The phone pings in her lap. Kiki, 7:19 a.m. "Happy almost New Year, Mama. You want me to pick you up for gumbo at Ms. Lorraine's?" A minute later, another text. "Or you need a ride somewhere else? You never answered if you're doing midnight mass." Nettie thumbs a reply, watching the little dots pulse as she types, erases, types again. She wants to say yes. She wants to say, "Pick me up and take me home." But home is a moving target now, and the thought of Kiki seeing her like this, fading at the edges, living out of a car, makes her hands cramp on the phone. Instead, "I picked up an extra shift tonight. Tell Ms. Lorraine to save me some gumbo. And you stay off the roads after 10, you hear? Too many fools out there." The lie slides down easy. Practice makes perfect. She scrolls through the other unread messages, one from Jermaine, sent last night. "Congo Square, midnight tomorrow. I'll be there. Can't wait to see you." Her chest tightens, but not from the pain this time. From something else. Something like hope. She doesn't reply yet. She'll see him tonight, face to face, the way it should be. Nettie reclines the seat and lets herself drift. It's 2023 again, the day after Paige and Poor's last shift. She stands in front of the plate glass window, paint peeling at the edges, the inside gutted and echoing. They left the bookshelves. Nobody wanted them, not even the flippers, but the rest is gone. The hand-painted community fridge sign is already tagged over, and a flyer for some new vegan bakery is stapled to the plywood on the door. She presses her palm to the glass, like she can feel the ghost of the old place in the sun-warmed residue. The sound of kids laughing 2 doors down. Different faces, same stories. People always think you can erase a neighborhood by painting over it, but memory sticks to the bones of a place. It never leaves. Not really. Nettie takes her eviction notice, folds it into the smallest square she can, and slips it into her pocket. She opens the back of the Impala and starts packing. Books first. Nobody touches the Baldwin or the blue spiral with her own scribbles. Then the boxes of Kiki's childhood art, last the battered coffee pot that's been with her since the FEMA trailer. A man walks by, gives her a polite nod. He wears a neon t-shirt for a food rescue collective, same logo that's printed on the new flyer. Nettie smiles back, but doesn't wave. She watches the shop one last time, then gets in the car and drives away, never looking in the rear view. Back in the present, her phone buzzes again. Jermaine, 7:48 a.m. You still coming tonight? Been thinking about you all morning? She types, pauses, then, I'll be there. Wouldn't miss it. A pause on his end, then, good. I got something I want to tell you, something important. She lets that sit for a moment, warmth spreading through her chest despite the cold. Maybe the tower don't mean what she thinks. Maybe it just means the old has to fall away so the new can rise. Maybe Jermaine is that new thing, a second chance, a sign from the ancestors that she's not done yet. She pockets the phone. The sun is higher now. Goldie stirs, shakes her fur, and sits up alert, ears cocked. Nettie rubs the dog's head, feeling the comfort of old routine. You keep a secret better than anybody, Goldie. Maybe that's why I love you so much. She slides the tarot deck from her bag again, one-handed. She thinks about Kiki, about Etta, about what it means to be the last stop in a broken line. Tonight, I settle up. Tonight, I see the tower all the way to the ground, or maybe tonight, I build something new on the rubble. She draws a single card, fast, like tearing off a bandage. The Hanged Man. Upside down, arms loose, a look of strange peace on his face. She nods, understanding. Surrender. Let go. Trust the fall. After a moment, she cracks the window, lets the humidity in, and waits for the day to pass. By the time the sun angles red through the city's haze, the back seat of the Impala smells like sage and sweat, and the slow funk of candle wax melting against plastic. Nettie works in silence, every gesture deliberate. She arranges the dashboard altar with steady hands, despite the stiffness in her joints. Left to right, she lines up her warding candles, white and blue, wax nubs pinched from the supplies she keeps stashed in an old shoebox. Next come the 3 bundles of dried herbs, rosemary, basil, and rue, bought cheap at the corner market but blessed by her own breath, just like Etta taught her. She tucks the photo of Kiki behind the cluster of candles. It's the graduation shot from last year, Kiki in cap and gown, a gap-toothed smile almost splitting her face. Nettie had bought the studio package, the most expensive one, and insisted on a big print even though she knew there was nowhere to hang it. Now the picture is bowed from months of shuffling, the edges creased, but Kiki's eyes, her eyes are stubborn, daring the world to tell her no. Nettie whispers the incantation under her breath, voice so low even Goldie doesn't twitch at the sound. Protection for the child of my blood, fortune for the daughter of my bones. Let the gates open and the way be clear. Spirits that walk, hear me, stand with her. She repeats it 3 times, then lights the first candle and lets the flame catch. The way it burns, tall, steady, means the words took root. The car rocks slightly as someone leans against the trunk. Voices outside rise and fall. Bruh, that's a whole vibe, I'm telling you. Then laughter, then music thudding from a rolling speaker. Mardi Gras sequins, face paint, feathers, some tourists, some locals. For a second, Nettie feels the old ache, the ache of missing out, of being invisible in your own home. But then, the moment passes. You got what you need right here, woman. Stop pining for things that never loved you back. She leans back, lets the candlelight flicker over the ceiling. Goldie paces, restless, so Nettie cracks the window. The sounds from Congo Square drift in, drums, laughter, the pop-pop of early fireworks, impatient revelers setting off bottle rockets and M80s, the city too drunk to wait for midnight. Night is coming fast. She digs the notebook from under the seat, flips to a blank page. For 10 minutes, she just stares at it, pen balanced on her knee. The words want to come out in a rush, but she makes them walk instead, slow and careful, each one weighted. Kiki. I know you gon' be mad, finding this instead of me. I know you got every right. I tried to leave you better than I found you, baby. But sometimes the world don't give us the story we want. It's nobody's fault, but mine. I lost the shop. Wasn't the storm, wasn't the white folks, wasn't even the city. I could have asked for help, but I was proud. Stupid, maybe. I slept in the car because it was all I had left that was mine. I want you to know this. Every single day you woke up and made me smile. You saved me. I mean it. Even if I never said so. All those times I acted like it was no big deal. Just know it was everything to me. You gotta be strong now, Kiki. You gotta finish what I started. Take care of the dog. Trust your own heart, even when it's breaking. I'm sorry I'm not there to see you do the next big thing, but I'll be watching, always. Etta said the ancestors walk with us, and now I know it's true. I'll be right over your shoulder, every step. Love, Mama. She folds the letter, careful and tight, and slips it into her purse alongside her ID and Kiki's phone number, the old Polaroid of her and Kiki at Jazz Fest, both of them sunburned and happy. She presses her lips together, holds the bundle to her chest for a second before letting it go. She checks herself in the mirror, straightens her collar, smooths her hair, wipes the sweat from her forehead. She's never looked more like her own mother. Face set hard, jawline stubborn, eyes a little too bright. If you're gonna go out, might as well go out looking yourself. She breathes in through her nose, slow and deep, and blows out the candle with a single decisive puff. Goldie lays her head on Nettie's knee, content. For a few minutes, everything is quiet, a stillness between the clamor of the street and the fear in her chest. Then, far off, the church bells chime the half hour. She is almost ready. Night in Tremé moves in tidal surges. By 9 p.m., the street outside is a parade, bodies in sequins lit up by sparklers, cheap champagne popping under the church bells. Goldie alternates between sleeping and standing sentry by the window, ears flicking with every distant firecracker. Nettie lies curled on the seat, her cheek pressed to the cool vinyl. At first, the pain is dull, a slow twist under the breastbone, something she's learned to ride out. But as the hour crawls, it builds. Needle jabs that steal her breath, muscles locking tight with each spasm. She counts through them, in the silence between the riot of the street and her own ragged inhale. It's just another spell. You've had worse. She remembers Etta's home remedy. 3 slow breaths, press the root of your thumb to the spot. Picture the blood untangling itself like river weeds. That used to help. Not tonight. Tonight her hands shake and sweat, her heart stuttering in her chest like a bad spark plug. She considers texting Kiki again, but deletes the draft. Better to let her remember you as strong, unbreakable. Instead, she scrolls through old pictures. Kiki as a toddler, sticky with beignet sugar. The two of them at City Park, arm in arm, matching smiles. For a minute, Nettie laughs, the sound surprising her, a bark of defiance against the world. At 11:16 p.m., her phone buzzes. Jermaine again. I'm here. Where you at? Starting to worry. She types back, fingers numb and heavy. Running a little late. Wait for me. It's easier to let someone down by degrees. Outside, the world ratchets up. Fireworks explode early, illegal Roman candles and cherry bombs shattering the black sky into strobe-lit fragments. The window glass vibrates with music, bounce, brass, voices in every key. The tower of St. Augustine glows in the reflected bursts, a lighthouse for a shipwrecked city. Nettie sits up, pushes her hair back, and wipes her palms on her pants. She tries the door, but her body won't cooperate. Her legs dangle, useless, over the threshold. The cold air from the cracked window tingles her skin. The pain crests, sharp and total, a vice closing around her ribs. She can't breathe. The air won't come. Her left arm goes numb, fingers tingling like they've been dipped in ice water. She gasps, tries to call for Goldie, but it comes out as a rasp. Her hands claw for the dashboard, the letter to Kiki slipping to the floor. She thinks of Etta, of the kitchen on Iberville, cardamom and coffee and the old woman's laugh like a church bell. She thinks of her daughter, Kiki at every age, from birth to tonight, the whole story of her cradled in a single heartbeat. She thinks of Jermaine waiting for her in the square, not knowing. The last thing she sees is the dog's wide, wet eyes. At exactly 11:47 p.m., with the city howling toward midnight, Nettie bows her head and lets herself go. The world narrows, blue-white flashes, the chemical sting of fear, then a widening blackness that is neither kind nor cruel. Her breath feathers the air one final time. Goldie, confused, paws her arm, whining. Licks the salt from Nettie's hand and whimpers, not understanding the stillness. The fireworks reach their peak. The Impala glows gold in the aftershock, the inside of the windshield a shifting canvas of light. Nettie's eyes are open, unblinking, fixed on the explosion above. If there is an afterlife, it comes disguised as the night sky over Congo Square, a riot of color, a taste of freedom, and the dog's head heavy in her lap. Outside, the city forgets itself. Inside the car, everything is finally silent. That was Chapter 6 of Death Apnea, No Tears for Black Girls Case Files, written by J.C. Reedberg. I want to sit in this for just a moment before I let you go. What makes Nettie's story land the way it does is not the death. It is the morning before the death. It is the toothbrush with the splayed bristles, the prescriptions folded into the glove box next to the expired insurance card, the tower card showing up for the third day in a row and her nodding at it like she already knew, the letter to Kiki that she folds tight and tucks next to her ID just in case, the candle she lights over the dashboard altar, the text she sends Jermaine telling him she is on her way when she already knows she is not going to make it. Nettie did not die because nobody cared about her. Nettie died because the systems that should have caught her, the healthcare system, the housing system, the economic structures that swallowed her family's business and called it market rate, all of them looked right at her and kept moving. She was not invisible. She was ignored. There is a difference, and it is important. There are Netties in every city right now. Women sleeping in cars and parking lots behind shuttered churches, rationing blood pressure medication, lying to their daughters about where they are living because pride is sometimes the only thing left that belongs entirely to you. Women whose hearts are under constant strain and who cannot afford the machine that would help them breathe in their sleep. Women who are writing letters they hope no one ever has to read. The full story of what happens to Nettie after that parking lot, what the system does with her body, what her daughter Kiki does when the hospital won't give her answers, what Samantha and JC find when they start pulling at the threads of a pattern that goes back 400 years. That story is in Death Apnea, and I need you to hear this next part clearly. If you go to Death Apnea's page on Amazon Kindle today, March 25th, the digital edition is completely free. Not a trial, not a catch. Free today. And if you have a Kindle Unlimited subscription, this book is free for you indefinitely. Anytime. Any day. Just search Death Apnea, No Tears for Black Girls on Amazon, and it will be there waiting for you. The paperback edition is also available for anyone who wants to hold this story in their hands the way it deserves to be held. The link is in the show notes. Go get it. Tonight. Read the rest of Nettie's story. Read what Kiki does when the hospital turns her away. Read what happens when Samantha and JC start pulling at the threads of a system that has been swallowing Black women for centuries and calling it protocol. Nettie deserves a reader who finishes her story. Say her name, Nettie Moreau. This is No Tears for Black Girls. I'm Samantha Paul. Stay loved. Stay safe. And remember, whenever you're trapped in a world of darkness, never allow fear to overwhelm you. Believe in your inner spirit and remind yourself of God's first words. Let there be light.